I can walk into a company's headquarters right away and sense if it is a vision-driven workplace. It's a palatable feeling pulsating through the air. It's when the people working for the organization are working for a bigger cause than just a paycheck. They're working for a purpose and they feel connected to it. They look at their organization as a revolution that they're part of, something much bigger than themselves, and they're inspired to be there. How do you know when you've created a company that's vision-driven? Simple, you see the result. You develop cultural alignment throughout the entire organization. Everyone is moving together like a cluster of birds flying in synchronized movement, creating a beautiful sight for all to see. This is the type of culture that calls for people to be at their best. The culture calls for leaders to treat people the way people want to be treated. This kind of culture calls for high achievement, self-actualization, affiliation, and a people-centric environment where people feel valued and appreciated for their unique contribution. Unfortunately, when culture doesn't work, it's because it's the exact opposite. It's destructive. People are made wrong. There's a lot of blame, perfectionism, and isolation. You usually see covert retaliation, people hiding things, they wish they weren't working there, and secretly are looking for a job, typically on the company's dime. They collect the check and really spend their time fantasizing or dreaming about the day they can escape. In that environment, HR's life is typically miserable. You're constantly dealing with managerial issues. The boss is always unhappy about something. It's more about finding out who's wrong than actually what failed. There's punitive damaging, shaming, and blaming. It's important to spotlight the barriers and ways of being that constrain your culture. First and foremost, a dog-eat-dog environment where employees are operating as adversaries. Everyone's in protection mode or defensive mode. It's a place where the only focus is on profit, or people are constantly catching each other doing things wrong. And in that environment, employees hide issues. They avoid being under attack. Typically in an environment like that, you hear doors slamming or you see doors being closed, and that's the norm. Or the communication style is one of public humiliation, sarcasm, or just plain meanness. The second environment that really constrains a great culture is an environment where people don't say what they really think. The focus is on getting along and not making waves, so people also hide what's not working. In this workplace, the method of management and decision-making often changes with the weather. And in this kind of culture, expectations are unclear and no one holds accountability because, of course, they avoid conflict. In this culture, timelines and goals are nice ideas, and whether or not you produce, that doesn't matter as long as you're in the good graces of the boss. The third kind of environment that greatly impedes culture is when goals are not possibly attainable. The leaders often bite off way more than their workforce can chew, and they lack the ability or the willingness to consider what it's really going to take to achieve those goals. People are expected to give up their life for the job. There's no real training or support on how to get better, and the only focus is on winning, even if it's at all costs. The impact of these three kinds of culture is diminished customer experience, elongated project timelines, and missed product release dates, and ultimately a loss of market share and shrinking profit. How do we at KeenAlignment approach this? We come in and we work with you and your leadership team to create a mission, vision, and values that creates a clear path to get where you're going. We then work with your team on how to convey that mission and vision to the employee population in an inspiring way. Next, we collaborate with you on how to remove those barriers that are in the way of achieving that future. Then we work with you to analyze your roles, and we create linkage for every role to the overall mission and vision. And we look for connection and inflection points on how those values of the organization show up in those roles. Then we articulate the key performance indicators for each role, and we demonstrate how they cascade up to the overall strategic objectives of the organization. What you get as a result is every human being in your company is breathing, speaking, and serving the company mission, vision, and values. And that's cultural alignment.